Horror movies aren't scary anymore. Sure, the occasional jump scare here or there gets you pretty good, but why aren't they actually scary? Okay, so let me tell you a story. I have two younger brothers, right, who are in the age range of 14 to 16. That age range where they're really discovering horror movies. They're at that age where you can finally stop holding your punches with the horror recommendations, right? You can't recommend a 7-year-old Longlegs. I mean, you could, but that's a lot of therapy you're gonna have to pay for, and it's expensive. Once they get older, go nuts. So they asked me, right, because I got the best movie recommendations in the game. They said, give us a horror movie that's got a good story, but also scary. So I said, that's easy. Let me give them a modern classic, Insidious. We watched it together, and sure enough, they said, I mean, it's okay, but it's not really scary. I said, okay, wise guys, let me up the ante a little bit. You want to be scared? I'll show you scared. Boom, Hereditary. I went straight there. That's right, I just dropped it right out of there. I don't play. Now, I think Hereditary did get one of them, you know who you are, because in the finale of the film, they used the classic line, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, and don't pause it. Don't pause it, right? But my other brother, the younger one, said, not scary. Now, if he doesn't think Hereditary is scary, and he's not even in high school yet, what the hell? And I believe him too. I don't think he's lying. I genuinely believe him. Before I move on, feel free to drop your scariest movie in the comments so I can show him and try to get him checking under his bed. All of this to be said, more and more I hear this criticism of horror movies. Oh, they're not really scary. Get Out, great movie, but it's not scary. Black Phone, great, not scary. So I was thinking about it, and what does that even mean? Like, scary. When I was a kid, right, the first real scary movie I saw was Friday the 13th. I was like 8 years old, and my dad would watch movies downstairs on the couch when I fell asleep. One night, he turns it on, he falls asleep, because, I mean, that's everyone's parent, I feel like. And I wake up little 8-year-old Jay to catch the last hour of the movie, and it scares me to actual death. I died, you guys. No, I didn't, but you feel it, right, in your soul. You know, we've all had that moment. I feel like I almost shed tears, if I'm being honest. I'm not scared to admit it. That feeling where you can't sleep, where you can't look outside at night. You can't look at anything because that broom in the corner of your room is gonna be like a serial killer coming to gut you like a Christmas ham, right? Now, the obvious response is to say age. Friday the 13th scared me so much as a kid because I was 8, and now that I'm in my 20s, I'm more adapted to the world. If some angry grandma comes up to fight me at a cabin, she's getting cleaned up, right? Consuela, Lemon Pledge. Obviously, age does play a factor, but it's not the main reason. When you're a kid and you get scared of a horror movie, you're fearing the worst thing possible. You're fearing death. You're too stupid, and you think whatever was in that movie is gonna come and get you and end your life. Adults, that doesn't happen, but it does manifest itself in other ways. Real quick, I think it was implied that this whole video is kind of aimed at people who are fans of the genre. We all have those friends who avoid horror movies, like an ex-girlfriend who gained a little too much weight. But I'm talking about us, the fans, right? The OGs, the gamers. So if I were to take you, a horror movie fan, right? And you leave the theater and you say, yeah, that's scary. What does that actually mean? Are you fearing for your life? I doubt it. So what does that actually mean? What does that look like? Obviously, what scares everyone is different. If you believe in the existence of demons, you're going to be a lot more scared of those kinds of movies. If you're in a cabin alone in the wilderness, you might be more scared of serial killer films. I can't speak for anyone aside from my own perspective, so let me tell you what that would look like for me, at least. But by the way, I must warn you, I'm actually super manly and macho, I've been told, so I don't get scared of just any old movie. I've also seen a ton of them, and once you see a ton, you kind of learn their tricks. But if I were to watch a movie, like the scariest movie I've ever seen, here's what I imagine that would look like. So first things first, I'd probably get home and just feel a little nervous, a little, a little off. Let's say the demon in this movie is played by Jack Quaid. Okay, after The Boys, he really wanted to do something different, really crazy. I'd probably do whatever I could to get Jack Quaid out of my mind. Normally that would look like me watching Impractical Jokers or playing some game, but Jack Quaid would keep popping up in my head. So much so when I got into bed, all I'd think about is Jack Quaid. I'd call my mom and say, hey mom, Jack Quaid's not real, right mom? Obviously, as adults who are into the horror genre, we have passed the days of being terrified by movies. I'm sorry, it's sad, but it's true. However, we're not past the point of being terrified in life. No matter how brave or macho you are, you're going to be afraid of something in your lifetime. when you're walking home at night and you're scared to turn around, when you're on a trip and are just a little afraid of jumping in the water. So many of these moments when you feel your heart drop, even if a movie is the furthest thing from your mind, so many of those moments are scary because of movies. What gave us the idea that something might be hiding in the dark? What gave us the idea that a forest at night is scary to begin with? So many of these fears, their very concepts, are founded in storytelling. Movies being one of the main motivators because it's the most visual medium. You hear a knock on your door past midnight and your brain goes straight to the worst case scenario. You're expecting some kind of villain. You're expecting the strangers, Michael Myers, the grabber. All of these fears, all based in movies. That is what lays the foundation. So yes, when the movie itself might not be scary, it might not scare you like it did as a child. Those fears are very real. They might creep into your life when you least expect it because they already have. Whatever your fear is, that fear is partially due to movies and the ideas they plant in our heads. Horror movies will terrify you, but they're playing the long game, and in that regard, I can't think of anything scarier.